Driveline R&D podcast, episode 31. This is Alex Caravan, co-host, co-swag manager of baseball analytics. Just going to take the rest of his vodka to the dome because very little left. And got not an ollie pop, but a trendy spin drift going.
Wait, what? What's ollie pop anyways?
Don't worry about it, bro. Let's hear what you got.
Kyle Lindley, R&D engineer, Driveline baseball drinking, and Alaskan Brewing Smash Galaxy double IPA. Sorry.
That's strong. How strong is that? Is that stronger than the vodka?
Yeah, look at this. How many shots you guys think it says?
Maybe half of a shot. Oh no! I think Lindley froze. Anyways, I'm Anthony Brady, Driveline baseball biomechanist, primary host of the Research and Drinks podcast. Lindley's back, just like that. Technical difficulties off the rip. Love to see it.
And then
it's a good thing I didn't host. I dished the host right before this.
Yeah, good call. Very good foresight. I got the classic Rainier beer. Nothing too fancy. Although Caravan, important. I heard through the grapevine that the Moorish it's in stores now, so it's officially Moorish season.
What grapevine, dude?
A friend, an acquaintance.
Damn, bro. That's how you talk about Jesse, dude.
An acquaintance let me know that the Moorish was available. So
what we got for today's guest, we got the newest member of Driveline R&D, Christian Hook, of Northern Kentucky University. I'll let him introduce himself in a sec, but just want to say really pumped to have him on board. And you know, Dan and I have already been talking to him a bunch, onboarding him, setting everything up. But yeah, Christian, take it away. Introduce yourself. Drop your swag ass drink name.
Yeah, I'm drinking Rhinegeist Slangria, seasonal beer in, or I guess it's an ale, Cincinnati area, fall drink.
Power move. That is a power move drink.
Yeah. Fan of the Wowie. Tastes kind of like sour apple, but this is like the seasonal fall variant of that. But yeah, my name's Christian. I went to Northern Kentucky University, majored in data science, and also worked with the baseball program there. Graduated this past spring. And so obviously with COVID changing a lot of everybody's schedule, thankful to end up at Driveline this fall and winter and I guess spring. Pretty excited to get going, and this is I guess my second full week here, so still getting familiar, but excited to be here. So excited to be on the pod.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I don't think Lindley. Have you ever talked to Christian before? Like outside of just
I was gonna say I've never actually met you, Christian.
Yeah, this is and same for me. So this is like great to meet you.
Yeah,
Christian, you don't need to talk to these guys, man. Listen, dude, you only need to talk to me and Dan. Don't worry about these guys.
Well, I already put Post-it heads on my screen, so it doesn't.
Are you familiar at all? Like, have you watched the podcast? Because I don't know if you know this, but like Dan never watched the podcast. He was very anti-podcast until we brought him on. Had you listened to it at all?
Yeah, I've listened to a few.
Pressure's on.
Yeah, I've listened to a few. I did listen to Dan's episode. I thought it was odd that he hadn't listened. Kind of a
pretty
fake
whack,
fan.
right? Yeah,
dude.
Okay,
Anthony,
call him out.
Anthony, I was about to. I thought you were going to say, I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but I'm the primary host.
Oh, I think that's a given. I think Christian understands that, like, without
Yeah.
me needing to
I
say
mean,
anything.
you look like the primary host.
Good, good.
Ouch.
Can we make sure to clip that, and then
Yeah.
we'll make the R&D podcast Twitter account, and then that'll be the pinned tweet. Can we do that? Let's just Caravan. You wanna?
I'm just gonna ignore all that. And anyways, Christian. So I'll do my poor job of introducing Christian like for like 30 seconds and then toss it over to you. But from my point of view, really excited to bring Christian in the fold. Dan and I had a ton of really qualified candidates, and it was brutal, man. I mean, you guys know a little bit how. I mean, I had a bunch of software deadlines coming up, anyways, but I got really busy with hiring because we had so many qualified candidates, and I wanted to give everyone that I thought was deserving an interview, and probably gave like double digit amount of interviews. And Christian stood out a bunch going in. We actually reached out to him. I know like his piece on Simba, a similarity-based pitch recommendation engine that we can link in the description and highly recommend as reading material. I know our CEO is already impressed by it, but like Christian had some really high quality independent projects and public content out there. And, even like one or two articles written about him as a one-man baseball analytics team on at NKU. But I guess, yeah, Christian, you want to give a less pressure, but more people watching version of the classic initial interview question of what your background is and how you got like in a baseball analytics?
Yeah, for sure. And for me, I'm from the Northern Kentucky area, and I'm about 15 minutes south of Cincinnati. So, when I was looking for degrees and like figuring out what I wanted to do, business analytics, data analytics, that stood out to me. And it kind of worked out that Northern Kentucky University, which is in my backyard, not literally, but it's like super close. And it kind of worked out that they had a data science program that was new. And I actually started off as a business informatics major for a semester. Then I realized that wasn't what I wanted. And so I pivoted really quick. I was able to work with the program there, coaching staff, kind of more old school in a lot of ways, but still open to learning and kind of adopting a lot of stuff. For me, we were a mid-major program, still D1, but competed in the Horizon League. A lot of like Wright State, UIC, some really good programs within the league, but still the resources aren't that of some of the bigger D1 programs out there. So for me, a lot of the struggle was, and I think I mentioned this in my interview, is like I had to MacGyver a lot of things to get to the same level, like whether it's scraping data or, I think I eventually made a tool that mimicked bats in a way. So like pitch by pitch data collection that synced up with video. So there are a lot of things that I had to do that other students across the country, and so they've been able to do other things that I never got a chance to do with the team. But for me, it was like trying to make the most out of every resource possible. And, the coaching staff gave me a really long leash to do those things. So it was really exciting to be there and for them to allow me to do that, number one. But, it's fun when you win. But even when you don't win, there are valuable experiences that come from that. And so I enjoyed my time there. Like I said, wish we could have won more. But that's just another layer onto
that sounds
it.
Like the story of my college baseball.
Yeah.
And I went to a mid-major too, at least D1-wise. So definitely the player end, understand trying to get by with the limited resources, especially when you have to play like out-of-conference opponents, facilities and resources up against, just on a recruiting level. I think recruiting is kind of where it factors in that ability to recruit. When you don't have resources, you really gotta like find a way to. You're not gonna get any high level play. Did you start there though, like freshman year right away, working with the team?
Yeah. I sent out an email to the coaching staff I believe, the fall before my freshman year, and it was, I went in, I think, before the school year and kind of had everything I wanted to buy out on a list, and I was sitting there like my hands are shaking, we're gonna need to buy 3 cameras and an iPad, and they're like, okay, sounds good, and like for them,
4 cameras.
Maybe 2 iPads. No, but for them to kind of bring me on and accept me as much as they did, especially early on, being just, they have no reason to trust, first off, that I know what I'm talking about. Number 2, like, hey, I'm asking you to spend a lot of money, like that I'm not just gonna like disappear on them.
Yeah.
Did they have any history with other analysts, or were you like the first one to kind of reach out and do this type of thing?
I was kind of the first one. And we go, NKU is unique because it's more like, for locally, it's a commuter school. So you don't get a lot of, other than athletes and some others, like international students, there aren't a lot of people that live on campus. And so most people that go to NKU kind of bounce up for classes in the day and then go home at night. And so probably I was one of the few commuter students, even though I lived on campus my first year and then close to campus my second, that would stay on campus after class or like before class and kind of get involved. That's not something I think a lot of local students to NKU got involved in. So I was the first. I'm sure that they had student managers at some point. But at my point in time, I was the only one for a couple of years.
And that's one of the main things that, one of the most important qualities for hiring someone to work at Driveline, and one of Christian's like most obvious qualities as well, just like resourcefulness. Because I'm sure you guys can back me up on this, and Christian, if you haven't realized it yet, you will soon. But we have so many projects going on and so many different like tangents that half the time it's just putting it together. You're gonna there's gonna be shitty data, a rushed process, and like a like very grandiose, not grandiose, but an ambitious like scope that we still we'll still have that as a scope, even factoring in everything else. So just like resourcefulness, solving problems, and just like getting a deliverable, things that are like super, super key for Driveline R&D department, especially as we like grow and take on like more projects. So like that, you'll have to do some janky data stuff as well coming up here soon.
I got a couple more questions. Did you play baseball in high school? Like, what was the background to get into baseball?
Yeah, I tried to make a valiant comeback in high school. I hadn't played since Little League, and so I tried to make a comeback my junior year. It's actually really, really funny story. Like I tried out, and it was in the middle of the winter, so I had been throwing nearly every day, working out. Probably should have done some like plyo care stuff. Didn't think that far ahead at that point, but wasn't throwing very hard. But so it was winter. I hadn't thrown in a while. And then I hadn't thrown in tryouts. We just pretty much ran, and then finally got on a mound, live BP.
Yeah.
And just terrible. The guy ended up pitching at a D3 school, Earlham. He ended up pitching at Earlham for a year, but he was hitting in this instance, and I did get him to swing and miss on one fastball. I think he was early, but at the end, I think I was the first one cut, because at the end, the coach had come over to me, and he was like, in a more PC term, he's like, "Hey, you're braver than me to come out and try out." And probably more telling about my ability than like, it was like, "Oh wow, you were so bad. You were really brave for coming out here." Which is fun. Yeah, because I did band in high school. I was on drumline.
Nice.
And did like band like wind ensemble and like performance stuff. So for me, it's like trying it out for baseball. It's like, I think for someone who hadn't thrown, I looked okay. Now my arm strength's a little bit better, and not that I don't.
Okay, comeback season.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you keeping it up, dude.
Yeah, give me a few months. I'll start throwing, and then I'll come up. And I think I threw in front of the Rapsodo a few years ago with 63. I think 75 is like
with. I don't know if you know this, but if you throw harder than Caravan, you get his job.
Okay.
I
was
that's
gonna
how
Come for me, bro. Come
that's
for
how
me.
jobs work at Driveline, especially in R&D.
You just have to throw harder than
based on velocity. So that's why I mean, the analytics wing is ripe for the taking. I think Dan and Caravan,
Dan and I are a bunch of soft tossers, bro.
yeah. If someone walks in and hits 70, they're director of analytics. Just like that.
That's what happened. That's what happened when my friend Kieran came and visited. He hit 70, then he had my job, but then he gave it back to me. He felt bad. He's like, dude, I don't even live in Seattle. You can just take it back. And I was like, all right, I'll try to throw harder next time.
I was pumping at the beginning of quarantine. I was playing catch a lot. And I don't want to throw numbers out there. Maybe 70.
Dude, Christian, then me and you are probably neck and neck, dude. Yeah. Me and you are neck and neck. We gotta air it out, even if it's virtually only or something.
Caravan has a history of velocity bets. I think he's had a bet with 3 other people in the R&D department before.
And I'm 2-0. I'm 2-0.
If we were to tie, would there be 3 co-managers?
Oh wow. Yeah, I think we'd have to do that.
Yeah.
That is the rules. That is within the written contract. So yeah,
that's actually the reasoning why there's co-managers. That's why Dan and Caravan coexist right now. Just neither of them could hit 70. It's open, man.
It's
ripe for the taking.
Nice. All right, Christian. First impressions of Caravan and Dan. Without how much context did you have of Caravan and kind of just more personal wise before coming in, and how did your expectations match up with working with them so far for the first 2 weeks?
And be careful, bro. Be careful of your answer, dog.
Yeah, I only have a week in, so I don't want to ruin anything yet. But obviously, followed a lot of you guys on Twitter beforehand, like I'm sure a lot of people do. And then listening to the podcast a few times. I mean, I had never really talked to him, I don't think, before he slid in my DMs a few weeks ago.
And I slid in. I slid in for a while. I slid in for like this length of a Twitter DM.
Yeah. It was a paragraph, but
head first slide, baby.
Yeah, so not much of an idea of who he is or who Dan was before getting to know them. But so far it's been really great. I mean, they both have a lot on their plate, obviously. And for them to take the time to walk me through stuff as patiently as they have so far has been huge. So high first impression, I guess you could say it could only go down from here. But no, great so far. I mean, like I said, not knowing a lot of the personalities, been pretty blown away with how everybody's treated me so far. It's been pretty cool.
Do you follow because on the Driveline side of things, some people are more into it than others, but some people follow the baseball analytics side of Twitter pretty closely, and we have we kind of have our finger on the pulse of some of the more well-known student managers, people doing independent research, even people that maybe they don't realize they have an audience, but they're just going back and forth a bunch on Twitter. But basically that's all to say that if someone posts a bunch in the baseball and analytics Twitter world, probably at least someone at Driveline has a good idea of who they are and the backstory there. Do you or other student managers kind of have the converse? Do you guys follow baseball analytics content as much as it seems, or is it more kind of you're in a small sphere, and then once you reach out, you don't realize how popping it is? Because there definitely are some very common spheres of baseball content intersecting on Twitter often.
Yeah. No, I would say I'm in a Slack group with a lot of people that work for their college teams and a few that don't. Some are in baseball, working for teams as well. And so I would say that of that group, we've all got our finger on the pulse of what's going on. I would say for me, Twitter's been the main way I get information for the last maybe 5-6 years on anything. So throw baseball in there as well. But, it is interesting how you can go, obviously you follow the Fangraphs, follow the Driveline account, the ML BAM people. There's a lot of boilerplate stuff, but then you don't realize how granular you can get. And some guys are posting stuff all the time, and it'll just be a random retweet, and they'll be like, oh, this stuff is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you realize that they've been churning out stuff for a year. So it's cool to see kind of what's been out there, because a lot of people hiding under the rocks. I guess it's like if you lifted a rock up and there's like a bunch of like worms and stuff, like there's way more than you would anticipate. But I think myself and others are probably pretty in tune with what's going on for sure.
That's me and Caravan trying to get out from under the rock.
Yeah. Christian, I don't know if you're aware, if you've heard about this on the podcast or just general reference, but Lindley and I have a race to 1,500 Twitter followers that I'm probably about to win. By the way, Lindley, I'm trying to win without tweeting, man. I haven't tweeted in September. I haven't sent a single tweet. I'm just still slowly churning. I'm trying to get you in there, bro. But we have a race to 1,500, and winner gets to take over the loser's Twitter for a week. So pretty high stakes.
Such a nightmare. I literally have nightmares about this now.
It's very, very one-sided, dangerous stakes.
But dude, I don't want Lindley hitting his dad jokes from my Twitter account, bro.
But that's like the worst that could happen. Like you already have a spoof Twitter account of me that I've like had to deal with on separate occasions.
Oh, I gotta reply to some DMs on that every month.
And he has tweets planned out to tweet from my account when he takes it over. Like he already has an agenda.
Yeah, it's gonna work out well for you though, dude.
No,
I'm talking tweets are gonna boost your work life, personal life.
Dude, stop. Okay. I literally almost like 2 days ago, I was like, to everybody paying attention, couple months, Caravan's gonna be taking over my Twitter. So like, just in case people miss it when he announces it, when he actually takes it over, I want everybody to know it's not me
just
tweeting.
Be clear ahead of time.
Yeah.
Christian, one thing also that like I know I've already joked with you about this, but one thing that like maybe a lot of people probably can guess, but maybe they don't know for sure. Like I know you're extremely passionate about a ton of different areas of baseball research. Like I famously joked to you about Christian had one answer during his interview that took about that was like 20 minutes long. It was like a really good answer, but he just like you could tell he just like got super into it and was like talking about I don't want to give it away in case it's like something Black Ops that you're working on, but it's like a pretty nuanced pitching analytics based question. And Dan and I were like DMing, we were both interviewing at the same time, and we're just like DMing on Slack, like, okay, ask him this next, and then it's like Christian's still going, and we're just like, never mind, ask him this next. Like, never mind, no, we got to go to questions. we got to go to questions. so I guess that's all to say that I know you're super passionate about it, and I think like most people that are in your position are like passionate about it, or else they won't even be putting in like the time and effort to like put stuff out there when there's no guarantee, right? You're putting out like really high quality content when it's not even like a job you're getting explicitly paid for or anything. In that kind of sense, like what general areas of maybe not even just baseball research, but I guess like what general large skills do you feel like you've really gone way more passionate about in the last like year or so as you've gotten like maybe more advanced? Like I know you've been proficient of R for like a little bit, but even just like whether it's like machine learning or just general sabermetrics or like obviously working with NKU, but I guess any sort of just a very, very open-ended question, but just what large skills or focuses have you really gone it more into in the last year?
Yeah, I can say that hitting stuff, I'm sure at some point I'll dig into it with you guys, but that stuff just doesn't interest me as much. Obviously, there's a lot more done on the pitching side. And so it's kind of like a tricky situation where there's probably less hitting research being done, but also there's less people interested in doing hitting research. And I know that I kind of fall into that trap as well. Like I only care about pitching, and then, there's so much to be learned about hitting and like what batters are doing. I know that's very vague, but there's just so much more to dig in there. But for me, trying to dig in more on some more granular pitching wise things, kind of like what you were alluding to, Alex. And then even looking at some defense stuff. That's some stuff I've been looking into especially over the last couple months. There's been a lot of time to look into and a lot of areas I didn't have time for before. So like, whether that's like, okay, well, obviously we know teams are shifting guys, but for me, I'm like, okay, how are they determining this? It's not just a spray chart. At the college level, we might base it off of a spray chart because that's all we have. If all we have is something from diamond charts, that's how we're going to base our spray chart or our defensive alignment. But for an MLB team, that's not how they're doing it. And so one question I was trying to answer is like, okay, how would I approach this problem? Well, like I even did a project on catcher framing, and then like almost like catcher framing runs and then catcher framing skill, because those are kind of two different areas. And so that was an area I looked into. So for me, there's so much to dive in baseball wise. And I feel like even with my experience at NKU, there's a lot of things I feel sufficient in I guess the baseball scope of things. But for me, the last year has been like heavy on the machine learning side. Obviously that's a fancy word. That could even just be linear regression or logistic regression. Like sure that those are, for me at least at NKU, our major was backlogged with a lot of the more technical heavy classes. And so I did a lot of work on my own very early on. Fun, like one team that I interviewed for a couple of years ago, I remember doing like a 3-page long write-up of some really, really simple linear regression model. And, it was really thorough, thought out. At that point, that was the first time I had put together any sort of predictive model. And I had forgotten to, or I didn't know any better, but I did not separate a testing and a training set. And so I did like a 3-page thing, and like the most glaring issue was like
no test set.
Yeah. So, learning on my own, and like, a month later, I was like, oh my God, how did I miss that? Like, how did I not know? But like I said, most of our classes for that are backlogged. So even this past spring, a lot of my classes were heavy into predictive modeling or machine learning. And at that point, I already had plenty of experience, but, marrying that like work on my own, whether it be baseball related or not, with the classwork is really beneficial. I mean, in class, you're more collaborative, working with classmates and whatnot. And so it is nice that you can bounce ideas. You don't have to do like maybe you're just doing the data cleaning.
Yeah.
You're putting the model together. We had some assignment, and I worked with 2 really, really smart guys. We had to predict like heart disease using like a really kind of janked up data set.
Like on a binary scale or a probability, like shifted scale?
Probability. Well, I think we made it binary, but like
the output was like on a range.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, they had a class that they were doing like a lot of deep learning stuff. I didn't take it for reasons I won't get into, but I didn't take that class, but I used XGBoost, which is another fairly powerful method. And so our outputs look similar, but like it's really cool to be able to do that. Be like, oh, I didn't need this class to learn that. I did all of this on my own. And so that's where like the work outside of class is really cool. And, baseball, there's so much public data that you can go and mess around with stuff on your own. It's really sweet.
Yeah. XGBoost is a pretty powerful model. I mean, I was going to say like on the topic of machine learning, and I've talked about this before a little bit, right? Like a kind of a blanket term. A lot of people like to throw around because it kind of speaks almost like a black box, and oh shit, like you give this guy data, he'll spit out anything.
Caravan throws it around a lot.
Sigmoid functions.
Take it easy. But like at a certain point, like probably, and I'm tossing on numbers here, but most people who aren't getting paid like, more than $200K a year to do machine learning, probably like the 5th through like 95th percentile of those people, machine learning to them is linear regression, random forest. Yeah. That's an easy like black box thing. I can just like set some parameters and then let it calculate. And then maybe like a boosted tree model like XGBoost. And to be clear, I'm not saying I'm much further along than those people. I'm probably chilling 96 percentile though. But yeah, I mean, I was honestly kind of the opposite path, Christian, because I actually took a bunch of machine learning and deep learning classes early on in my college career before I really had actionable data to play with. Like before I was like really deep diving, like I kind of almost had a yo-yo effect. Like initially growing up, I'd mess around with some stats and do some like basic stuff. Then, got into college, had my classes, had like a bunch of stuff going on, and then like started working on those things in academic setting. Actually, like one of the projects I did this project with like a couple PhD students when I was an undergrad. We did, believe it or not, dude, we did a consulting project for a company that sold women's underwear. It was like kind of like a volunteer basis. There was like 4 or 5 possible clients, and then you'd like get with a group of students, and then you'd like be assigned like, okay, do this. So we had I forget what they were called. I gotta look this up, but it was like it was a very boutique ladies underwear ladies underwear selling firm, and we were just like doing machine learning on their survey data, on their sales data, like all that stuff to put out like marketing content. And it was a really cool project, but like, it nothing to do with baseball data. So I almost like worked on the more technical aspect of what I would say now I have in my toolbox in like an academic setting or in a like non-baseball setting. Then like, after a couple of years of working outside of college and like getting more, like starting to apply those skills for baseball, and then like being at Driveline. So for me, it's more of a yo-yo effect.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you said, especially because you said you were like limited as far as resources goes with the team, and you're talking about how you like learned a lot, or you learned some from classes and everything. Are there any like applications from classes, or are there any projects that like you're willing to share that are like you're most proud of? Like you look back and always talk about how you like accomplished this like thing, and how I don't know. It's just like, I feel like, especially with those circumstances, there's like a potential to be like, I completed this thing, and it's I'm like really, really proud of it. So
with my time from my time with the team, or
yeah, either one.
Well, I know this summer I was pretty excited about how the Simba thing turned out. Hopefully Disney isn't watching this, but I was excited about how that
patent, dude. They put out a patent for Simba. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier today, but I was excited because that was something I wanted to save in case I got in with the team, just because it was something I had in the back of my head. I'm like, well, I don't have the data to do this, because basically there's some variables that aren't that crazy now, like spin efficiency, spin direction, just things that aren't in that publicly available Savant or StatCast data. And I was able to kind of get those through. I mean, a lot of reading Alan Nathan's documentation, a lot of hitting up Charlie Young on Slack. But being able to put that together, I was pretty pleased with the outcome, and it worked kind of how I thought. And because for me, like obviously you guys have your pitch recommendation tool, but something that I've been thinking about and working with the players at NKU on pitch design stuff with using Rapsodo is like a lot of this stuff has to come organically. You can't just be like, I think a lot of people, and obviously I don't think you guys think this, but it's like, okay, well, we want this specific profile. Okay, yeah. Well, this guy, like a really good example is we had our volunteer coach, or a volunteer assistant coach, who was in the White Sox org. He's no longer playing, I don't believe. But he was throwing in front of the Rapsodo during his break in the off season, and he gripped his curveball like janky. And I think he threw with you guys like at a pop-up stop in like Pennsylvania or something, but his curveball spun off the charts because he had some like weird like manipulated grip on it. But like he couldn't get very much move. It was really, really low efficiency. So like, but he wasn't going to change his curveball grip because he's like, I've used this grip all my life and it's spinning like crazy. But there was no chance for him to like manipulate that enough to get like optimal curveball movement. It was always going to be slurby just because of how he gripped it. So like, there are certain ways that a guy can like throw the baseball, like, or how his hand works around the baseball, or how his arm works around the ball. That's going to limit his like what types of pitches he can throw. So that was kind of the core idea behind that particular project, and kind of grouping like, based off of how, like in my article, I had Cody Allen is like, okay, based on how Cody Allen throws his fastball and curveball, what's a slider that he could throw? Who throws a slider, who throws a curveball and fastball in a similar way, and who also throws a slider. There's a certain point where if you had Trevor Bauer on there and you added all of his pitches, you're going to have diminishing returns because nobody's going to throw, 5 different pitch types. So it kind of can get messy there. But I was really proud about that project, especially with like making something deliverable at the end, kind of a complex subject. And then I was really proud of the kind of like the bats, homemade bats thing I made at Northern, because for me, like having actionable in-game data, didn't really have that for the majority of my time. And so, seeing programs with bats was like, wow, that would be really cool if we had something like that. And I could go back after the game and see what our guys did. I can't really see what happened. I can watch, and I can try to do like maybe use an iPad app, but that's just not going to cut it in a lot of cases. And, I got to use it for 17 games, and it was really cool. And then our season shut down this past spring.
Yeah.
So that's by bats for people who aren't familiar, you don't have the projection system that like Fangraphs and other people have posted about, right?
No.
It's like a video system, right? I think it's like a video library. Like you could go and see your bat and see a pitch or something, right?
Yeah. So you go in, basically you chart the 4 guys.
The bat.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You go in and you start the tag, say what happened on that particular pitch, and you can go back after the game and you want to look up Joe Smith sliders, and you can pull them all up, and they're all right there. And so I was able to do that which is not like we always had video. We always had some sort of in-game tracking system or like iPad app that we used as long as like when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But like marrying the two was pretty huge. And like for our coaches to be able to go through the end of the game, have it to all automatically cut, and then for them to be able to pull a video out and like watch it. And before it was like 11 p.m. or instead of going through an entire game,
right.
It was pretty cool. And that was like the biggest like a sense of accomplishment, like that first game when it all ran,
right?
And like the hitting coach was watching it on the laptop. I'm like, this is really sick.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that I made something like that, because I think I put it even in my application for Driveline. I was like, for a long time I really sucked at programming, so like I just really hate Java, but I built this.
I remember your crusade against Java.
Yeah, hate it so much.
What languages do you know?
Python, R, some of the web dev languages like HTML, PHP, like CSS. The data science major at NKU is interesting because you have a kind of a variety of different majors within that. So a lot of places they'll do more stats heavy. Ours was more computer science heavy. So I had more of those electives that I had to take. So I made sure like I have all the CS electives I could take. To me, it made sense to do the web programming ones, just in case I had to. Now it's coming in handy because if I'm doing a Shiny app, I can go in and change the CSS pretty easily and like make it look nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Christian, I kind of have a random question for you, but I've always kind of wondered this from other people's point of view, because I know my answer, but as you've gone like more, especially with MLB data, as you've gone like more skilled and gone like more ambitious ideas about playing of MLB data and either doing projections or getting some sort of insight or deriving analysis, do you feel like you follow teams and players more or less? You know what I mean? Like you're like a huge fan of Max Scherzer, and then like are you still, you know what I mean? Like once you're like looking at your projection for him or your own like whatever insight it is revolving around individual players, do you find like you're more or less interested in that kind of stuff?
I guess I'm less. I would say I'm more interested in individual like success stories or like stories where people are like changing things and getting better. But I think I follow less intently than most fans. I've never really, like growing up, I wasn't much of a baseball fan. It kind of turned on for me when I was in high school. And so, even from that point, I was never as much of there's not the moment of growing up and like, oh, this is my favorite player. He plays for my favorite team. There's always more of a baseball is interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. So it is funny because like the romanticism is taken out of the game a little bit for me.
Yeah.
So like I'm probably like everyone. There's certain like dad coaches on Twitter that probably would hate that answer for me. Like, oh, like it sounds really dry, but like I still love baseball a lot.
Right.
It's just there's not like that. Oh wow, I grew up watching Ken Griffey Jr. He's my favorite player. Like it's I appreciate really good players, and like you can kind of be dumbfounded by Mike Trout or like Clayton Kershaw or generational players like that. For me, it's like I'm more interested in like storylines. It's hard for me to get like super attached to the players themselves.
I'm kind of the same way. That's why I asked. I'm kind of the same way. I used to be like I still am, but I used to be like a pretty hardcore Dodgers fan. And most people at Driveline like might not even know because I don't like talk about it as much. And plus, when we have like pro clients, it's when you know actual people in the game and they're like in your facility and stuff, it's kind of hard to be as attached, at least for me. And also just when we are looking at like holistic like data sets and like, oh, okay, so and so is predicted to do this. That's interesting. Like, I think it's way more interesting. I think it's way more interesting in a way to follow a team when there's less when there's more uncertainty about it. You don't realize like, okay, great, I'm following the Dodgers. Mookie Betts is outperforming by like 15%. Bellinger's underperforming at 30%, has like a X% chance to rebound next month. Whatever it is, however you think about it. But like for me, it was like much more. Yeah, it just got like more difficult. At least I feel like I still follow a lot of stuff like closely, but not like not the same like rooting interest personally.
Yeah, I'll root for story. Like there's an attachment to the players because like obviously what they're doing is on a nightly basis, whether they're the outcome is good or bad, is still pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rooting interest there, but like the romanticism isn't quite there for me.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. It just like loses the kind of like allure, at least for me. The more like I worked inside it, also meeting like a lot of players and just like working with them, even in college, like even when I was at Northern Colorado, like professional baseball just seemed so far away and so different from everything. But then after being able to like work with professional players and like see them at Driveline and how they act, it's just like, oh, he's the same guy that I am. Like he just throws a little harder, maybe has a better slider. But no, I definitely, that resonates with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've liked that part of working at Driveline a lot. Like realizing that just like humanizing the big leaguers. Like now when I see a big leaguer on TV just be like silly, it's just like so much more relatable. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's like clear that he's just they're just like normal people that are really good at like baseball or whatever. But before it was like never really that way for me. Like even when they were being like more human on TV or whatever, it was still hard to like relate to them at all.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of fans will be like, especially on Twitter now. I don't know if you guys look at like what teams will post the post game score.
Yeah.
Be flooded with like fire this person, like are like so and so's terrible, so and so's terrible. Is like I think, at least from my perspective, and it sounds like you guys too, you have like the players are more humanized. Like you see them more as humans,
mm-hmm.
and so you understand like maybe a lack of performance or like I don't know. Like you think that fans would be, and this is not knocking people that are like hardcore fans, but you'd think that there'd be more understanding, or like they would be more understanding, especially if they're rooting for those people. But it's like they are so attached to like they live and die with every pitch, so they're like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they'll get like way too fired up at like the post game replies,
right?
Like, and I understand, but it is just interesting. Like I think at least from my perspective, it's like I understand that like nobody wants to suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Like as a really hardcore fan of a team, you'd be like, oh, well, maybe he doesn't want to suck.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to suck.
One of the first players I met when I started working on Driveline, actually the very first player I met, and I think he was there when I interviewed and came up to Driveline like a month before, and then actually when I was at Driveline, was Tim Lincecum. I don't know if you knew about him trying to come back with us, Christian, but he was trying to come back in the winter of 2017, spring of 2018, or like beginning of 2018, I should say. And he got a contract with the Rangers and actually like went to like he like moved to Arizona. He was like in their spring training roster, and then I think just like had a bunch of injuries and everything, and probably some lingering like I don't know, just like
There's
probably
a bunch of
wasn't.
stuff that happened.
Yeah. But I mean, Linscomb, and I don't know how uncensored we want to get on this podcast. I mean, Linscomb's like really, really chill, really funny, really down to earth, and also like kind of you interact with him and you go like, this guy is like, it's awesome that he's still this down to earth and still this like goofy, despite
100%.
being like a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Like I remember like my first time interacting with him, we were just like joking around, and then like I saw him like just even just like calling his dad before a tryout. Like he had like a pro teams came to watch him throw at Driveline, and just like all the stuff he was going through, little like little bit of anxiety here and there, and I'm just like, damn, this dude is like really, really human, and also like it like puts it so much of it in perspective. Like he really is just a kid, and just like loves the game, and goes through the same things everyone else does, talking like just talking about like personal life stuff as well, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, damn, it's you'd think like players would get like more cold and more removed, and maybe it's like a credit to like our training staff, but he was like really, really comfortable around Sam Breen especially. And just like, yeah, I heard a lot of uncensored stuff from Linscomb, let's just say, about the Giants locker room, and I'll leave it at that. If you want to hear more, your boys better make a Patreon in 24 hours, so just hit me up.
We'll keep those under wraps for a while, I think. Jesus. Damn it.
Yeah. What'd you think I was gonna drop, Brady? You didn't even know what I was gonna drop.
I did not know, but I'm glad you left it there. I was ready to just change the stream title, just completely just mute you, shut you down. Yeah. There's some wholesome stories with him. Like one of the things I always remember with Linscomb was when, I think the summer when we were interns, like he would always come over to my desk and we would like 1v1 each other on the grip tester. Like that was like the first thing he would do when he came in, is he would like bring it over to me and be like, all right, let's see what you got today. And he'd just try to like pull it as hard as he could. And we'd just like go back and forth until we were burnt out. And that's how he would start his workouts. Like in retrospect, that was probably pretty stupid. Like that was not smart.
No, dude, Linscomb's super wholesome. I mean, Do I know the number of sexual partners he'd had by the beginning of 2018? Yes, but is that relevant to his training at Driveline? No.
God damn it.
And if you want to know the number, fucking Venmo me $5, baby.
Caravan.
I think is he in the audience?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised.
I'll send him the link.
Can you imagine?
I'll send him the link.
It'd be hilarious.
That would be so sick.
My gosh.
So couple more casual questions that we've been trying to hit guests with. Which, by the way, we have no structured like fun question segment. So I'll hit you with some of the ones that we've had like have been good in the past. But what's your favorite cheat meal, or like treating yourself out? Like where would you go if you just like, okay, Simba just took off, your boy made 100K, I'm gonna treat myself out to a nice meal.
You just got a patent on it.
COVID's more relaxed. You don't have to worry about like restrictions or whatever. It's either in a pre or post COVID world. What's your move?
We've been ordering a lot of Thai food, pad Thai, like medium heat level. Like I did crush an entire like takeout box full of that about an hour ago.
So are we gonna have to hit Ty Tom when you come visit the facility, or what?
I guess is it good?
I don't know.
Really good.
I hear good things about it.
It's really good. There's bomb Thai all around Caravan and I, where we live. Also, instead of that, you want to just go on the next Thailand trip with me and Caravan?
Yeah, we've gone. How many pad thais do you think we crushed in Thailand, Brady?
Oh, I mean, we were there for like 2.5 weeks, so at
like
least
15.
Like, I was gonna say easy 20, because there were days where I had 2 to 3.
Yeah,
just like walking by around in the markets.
Yeah,
like
because Christian, it's like 50 cents over there, dude. You get quality pad thai for literally 50 cents.
Yeah, and honestly, it would have been way higher if we didn't get sick that couple of times. But
and just that, you really have to listen to Patreon version if you want to hear about me and Brady being sick in Thailand.
Yeah, it was just nonstop. Caravan and I were just like, we were working, eating pad thai, or we were sick. That's basically the whole whole trip, honestly. Yeah. A lot of coding went down in Thailand. Pretty good internet over there too. Not gonna lie. So, Driveline Analytics Wing goes to Thailand, 2021.
Are you in the analytics wing now, dude?
Well, I mean,
the research wing.
I think
That's
I can get like an honorary spot just for the Thailand trip.
Huh.
Yeah, well, I'll hook it up. You,
I mean,
you can throw hard on me. You can throw hard on me, so I'll hook it up.
Yeah, you just have to throw above 70.
Yeah. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could just slide on over there, just for the trip and then give it back. Thai food, nice, solid, very solid. I've been crushing Thai food. The place, 2 houses down, Caravan, it's fire.
I've been checked it out.
What's that house?
The food truck.
No,
Just your neighbor?
Dijins or something. It's like a block away.
Okay, and then
It's beast.
next question for Christian, since you came in hot with the drink, which kind of like your drink of choice, or how's your how do your taste trend in that direction?
Fruity type stuff, like fruit flavored. Can't, like, the more hops, the worse. I mean, I've had
Interesting. Okay.
Rheingeist is a pretty popular. I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but it's pretty popular.
What was it? I didn't hear that.
Rheingeist,
Okay.
sponsor of the pod. They pretty popular in the area. I think they're only in Cincinnati, like Northern Ohio, or I guess Southern Ohio as well. But fruitier stuff. I've had IPAs, terrible. Tastes like vegetables to me. Like, just straight up, like if someone made like a cold vegetable soup and like put hops in it.
That's such a beast description. Oh my gosh.
That is what it tastes like to me. And so, like, I've been experimenting with, like, because they've got like a million different flavors.
That's that's a Bodie level take on IPAs. Like,
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Bodie's quote on IPAs is like, no one actually likes IPAs or something like that. Like,
I believe that because it's terrible. I don't know. Like, I see it on Twitter all the time. I'm like, who? Like,
yeah.
Dude,
This is a very heavy
80%
IPA podcast. This is an IPA dense podcast.
Yeah. 80% of the drinks on this podcast have been IPAs, dude. There was a point where we were just we all went back to back IPAs, and I was just like, dude, this like screams of trendy Seattle bros trying to, like, we drink beer. Oh, yo, you had a Dippa?
Yeah. Lindley loves IPAs so much he's drinking a double IPA right now.
Calling me out. Jeez,
So
Karen.
damning, jeez.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So, like,
I'm sorry.
so mainly ciders and sours.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm so glad I asked that. That's beast.
Yeah, that is. What about wine? I mean, wine's fruity. Whites, reds.
I don't know a lot of wine.
Okay.
There is a Rheingeist. They've got a rosé. It's pretty good. Yeah, in a can. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, noted. I think, I mean, there's some fruity IPAs that could be up your alley.
I'm not sure about that.
Hey, we'll see. Hey, if you come to Seattle, you bring us, some Rheingeist.
Yeah.
We can see what we can do. Find the fruitiest, less vegetable-y IPA we can find.
Might go well with a pad thai.
Ooh, yeah. Nothing goes better than Chang. Chang is the best beer with pad thai.
That's Thailand's national beer.
Yeah, the Chang.
Just a large Chang. Just a large Chang. Yo, we also said that like 5 times a day. Like, yo, get me a Chang. Go up and get me a Chang.
Just Chang's and pad thai. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, and then last random question, I guess. Obviously, somewhat dependent on the current, like, COVID situation, but what places have you traveled that you really like, and or what's next on your or like where would you like to travel if given an opportunity, or are you even into traveling? I was just thinking about it, getting wanderlust from me and Brady talking about Thailand, but down to hear your thoughts.
I've been around a little bit. I mean, it's hard for me because I do like the area that I'm from. There's just like it's just practicality. It's like, okay, well, we've got everything you would need in terms of like a living area. This is a really boring answer. I like the upper Midwest states like Michigan, Wisconsin. I don't think I've been to Minnesota, but like I'm a cold weather guy. So even here, in Kentucky, it does get pretty hot in the summers. And then it does get cold in the winters as well, but more cold weather oriented, like 70 degrees. I've been to San Francisco. That was pretty cool. Trying to think of anything where else.
But you've never been to Seattle?
I haven't been to Seattle. I was born in Arizona. That's kind of a fun fact.
I'm sorry.
Phoenix.
I'm sorry for your loss.
What part of Arizona?
Scottsdale.
Yo,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Dude.
Wow. That's crazy. You must have had a really tough upbringing living in such a crappy place. Wow. Crazy.
Well, it is kind of born in Scottsdale and then living in Kentucky is kind of I don't have any memories from Arizona.
Probably for the best. Probably for the best.
Yeah, Anthony doesn't have any memories on either, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because you.
Okay, and that was a great question. Great answer. Anyways, go ahead, Caravan.
No, I was just clarifying why you didn't have any memories from Arizona.
Okay, what? I got very sick.
No, Christian. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know where your traveling plans are, and obviously contingent on a bunch of stuff. But if you do come to Seattle, can definitely crash at mine and Brady's place. We got a huge couch. We got tons of Thai food around, and
you got a bike.
Got a bike.
Yeah.
Well,
got a snowboard. Okay. If you ski your snowboard, cold weather guy, you like snow?
I like snow. I'm not sure if you want to see me on like a snowboard.
Yeah. We'll bring you. We'll bring Caravan. We'll see who can make it. Who can make it out alive.
And then that determines title.
Yep. Right? Whoever makes it down the mountain, they get to keep their job.
Dude, I got to get through my 2-week bike ride. If that's still on the books, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a weird podcast setup. I think. I haven't even thought about that.
Off the bike.
Interesting. This is going to get interesting. Stay tuned, folks. The podcast is going to get weird.
All right. Okay. That's a smooth wrap after I drop some Linscomb deets. We got a quick look into Brady's dark past and
dark past. What? There's nothing dark about it. Gosh dang it. God damn it.
But yeah. Thanks for coming on, Christian. Obviously, like I said, super excited to have you on board. And then, like I said, don't worry about like getting to know Brady and Lindley too well. They're not really that important. They talk a lot about biomech stuff, but honestly, they both know. You know, if we got to get anything done on the biomech side, it's going to be me and York ironing out the API, taking care of the DB. You guys keep doing your thing on the columns. It's not a big deal.
This is crazy.
What do you guys have on the towel drill?
Oh,
that's an overtime question. What do you guys got?
I've in my life, I have probably done over 10,000 towel drills. No bullshit. Easily.
So that's an endorsement if I ever.
And I've had Tommy John twice and 2 torn labrums. So you tell me.
All right, thanks for coming on, Christian.
Yeah,
it was a good time. We'll see you folks next week. Monday, 4 p.m.
Towel drill. All right, see you everyone.
And we got a crazy guest for next week. That's all I'm gonna say.
Crazy guest for next week?
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned. Crazy guest.
My older brother.
Bye.